We bring the boom from the past to today. We bring the boom where the big boys play. We bring the boom from the roar to the pop. We bring the boom and we will never stop. Turn it up, feel the heat, it's a wrestling spree. From Hogan to Reigns and the Bloodline family tree. Got Omega going wild, the elite still strong. MJF dropping fire with this sing-along. We're talking Cody's story and Rhea's reign. LA Knight, yeah, bringing swagger to the game. From Ospreay's flips to the Judgment Day's tune. Our podcast rules every wrestling platoon. We bring the boom from the past to today. We bring the boom where the big boys play. We bring the boom from the roar to the pop. We bring the boom and we will never stop. We dig deep into feuds, sealed chairs and ladders, heel turns, face pops, and kayfabe matters. Lights dim low, hear the glass shatter. 2 words is here, breaking down what really mattered. Radio Matt with the vocals and fist. Big John shakes his head cause he hates all of this. Boom!
I hate you so much!
We're the podcast legends, every fan in tune. Modern marks with the throwbacks. We bring the boom! We bring the boom from the past to today. We bring the boom where the big boys play. We bring the boom from the roar to the pop. We bring the boom and we will never stop. We bring the boom!
We're not holding space for the lyrics of Defying Gravity. We're holding space for the lyrics of Sexy Boy by Shawn Michaels. And that's what you can expect here on the Two Words Podcast. My name's John, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Radio Matt. Radio Matt, how are you doing today?
That's how it starts, and it's always uncomfortable.
I thought you were about to do the Defying Gravity thing.
Either
Gosh, man, that's already gotten annoying. And I know that introduction is pretty time specific. Mm-hmm. In like 3 years, when nobody's listening to this episode, they're not going to understand why I said that. But just remember, just know, like, theater kids gotta win around the winter of 2024. And that's really, I mean, you know, I guess, I don't know.
Hey, it's our finale.
It's the finale. It's the finale episode. I forgot that it was the finale. Forgot that this was actually the finale episode. The final episode of season.
What season are we on?
We always forget.
8, I think.
It's 8. Gosh, 8 seasons, man. And it's been a good 8 seasons. And I think this season has been one of my favorites, except for all of the
being
issues.
shorter because of all of our missed episodes.
But
and
hey,
even this episode is a week late.
Yeah.
But we're still doing it.
Mostly intentional, though.
Yeah.
And so, but for our season 8 finale, we're heading to our Superstar Showcase, and we are talking about a man who is controversial. We're talking about a man who might be one of the greatest and might be one of the most hated. Hit the button.
What button?
His name is.
Oh, I don't think I have that.
You took the.
This is a new board, and I haven't gotten any of our stuff on it.
Oh.
Sorry.
And his name is John Cena!
You gotta warn me about these things.
I'm sorry.
Beforehand.
I knew, I was sitting there I was sitting there writing it last night, and I was like, I need to make sure Matt still has that sound.
I have it somewhere, but we got a new board.
You can just
a couple months ago.
You can just put it in, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We're going to be talking about John Cena, the doctor of thugonomics, everybody's favorite Make-A-Wish giver, the PG era champion,
The Peacemaker.
the Peacemaker. Ooh, Peacemaker. Not a PG era champion. But first, hey yo. According to the USPTO trademarks report, WWE has registered Edge, officially describing Edge as the Edge trademark. They have trademarked the name Edge. Registration is intended to cover the categories of wrestling exhibitions and performances by professional wrestler and entertainer rendered through the broadcast media, including television and via the internet or commercial online service, providing wrestling news and information via a global computer network, providing information in the fields of support via the online community portal. These are important and the people care. They're not. Nobody cares. WWE's trademarked Edge.
Yeah.
Which has led some people to ask the question, is Edge coming back? Are they planning on that? I don't think so.
No. It's the same reason he didn't use Edge when he moved over to AEW. His whole career as Edge is a vastly sprawling WWE career.
Yeah.
Like there's too much Edge content.
Yeah.
That's all WWE. They want to make action figures and merch and stuff and like all this. I mean, I understand.
And why would you take the risk of losing the losing the rights to it?
The odds that he returns at some point, even if it's just for a one-off or something like that, still pretty high.
Yeah.
And you'll want to use the name that everyone knows him by.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Or Sexton Hardcastle, which was his independent name.
It's good. It's a good one.
Here to kick some booties.
But no, I have heard Adam Copeland is sticking around in AEW, is planned to return sometime in 2025.
Okay. So. Well, and there was one interview where he was like, I wanted to be Adam Copeland in WWE, but that's just not how it works.
Right. Yeah.
Because I like my name. It's a pretty good name. And so, I don't think this is something. Yeah, I mean, it's worth talking about, but it's not really worth anything in the long run.
I mean, that's how Steve Austin got his name, right? Wasn't his name Steve Williams or something? And they're like, we already got a Steve Williams, so where are you from?
Yeah.
You're Steve
like
Austin
that,
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a good thing they didn't use where he's actually from, because I think his name would be Steve Edna.
Well.
Steve Edna coming to the ring now. He's got a shawl and a cup of tea.
Steve Edna. He would be the guy already in the ring with that name. Steve.
Yep.
Hey, yo, the women's division has 2 new titles. In the time since our last episode on November 8th, episode of Friday Night SmackDown, General Manager Nick Aldis unveiled the WWE Women's United States Championship, marking the introduction of the first mid-card women's title on the WWE main roster. Aldis emphasized that championship presents a new opportunity for the women's division to showcase their talent and determination, stating that the title would not be awarded arbitrarily but must be earned through competition. Tournament to crown the inaugural champion began on the November 15th episode of SmackDown, with the final match scheduled to end on December 14th at Saturday night's main event, that big special that they're doing. Okay. I think that is the pay-per-view for December. They're calling it Saturday Night Main Event.
Is that what they're doing?
Based on their old property. And then WWE introduced the Women's Intercontinental Championship, revealed by GM Adam Pearce on this past Monday night's Raw. Pearce highlighted its legacy as a workhorse title, aiming for the women's version to share this repetition. Both the belts mirror the men's US and the IC titles, just with a white strap, as we've been doing. As of this recording, the date of crowning this champion is unknown, but the tournament will begin next Monday. Some fans calling for Chyna to be honored in the legacy somehow, given that she was the first woman to hold the men's Intercontinental title.
Were there any other women?
I think there was one more. My brain is saying it was either that Bass lady Or it was Nia Jax. Did Nia Jax hold the title?
No. Sports Illustrated is suggesting only one woman in the history of WWE
Okay, maybe
has
it
held
was just
the
China.
men's
Okay.
Intercontinental Championship.
I think another
She held
woman
it twice though.
I think another woman challenged for it once.
Could be.
But anyway, yeah, she did hold it 2 different times. And I wouldn't mind that. I feel like honoring China somehow is long overdue. Like, I understand that she got into some pretty non-PG things.
People do pornography, man. I mean,
post-wrestling.
famous people.
But her legacy in WWE is something that cannot just be washed away because of the PG era.
What do you think's gonna happen? What do you think's gonna happen when this podcast is over? Your turn. Doing the line. Yeah, but the Intercontinental. The problem I have, I love that they're mirroring the titles, right?
Yes,
The problem is that we had an Intercontinental title with a white strap that everybody loved.
that's true. And now we
looks,
can't ever have it again.
It looks just like it,
Yeah.
So,
But
or
we
looks
can't
a lot
ever have
like
it again for the men.
Yeah.
But being honest, like in other areas of the world wherever something that's primarily focused on men is copied so that the women can have it too,
Yeah.
it usually feels forced and not very exciting. WNBA. But when it comes to women's wrestling, I don't feel that way. I am excited for there to be 2 new belts.
Yeah.
I'm excited for a chance for more women to shine as champions at the same time because we have far too many championship caliber women on the roster that just
100%.
basically have to sit out most of the year from the spotlight because there's nothing else for them to go to. There can only be one championship feud per show at a time.
Yeah.
And so maybe this will bring back Alexa Bliss.
My biggest fear, that would be great. I'd be really cool with her being the first women's Intercontinental champion. My biggest concern with stuff like this is it will go the way of the women's tag team champions.
Gosh, I really hope it
Which,
doesn't.
like, who are they?
And I get that.
I'm legitimately asking.
I'm still
is it-
Bianca and
is it
Jade,
Bianca?
even though Jade is now out.
That's true. She got injured on SmackDown.
She had a legitimate injury. Like, she's really out for a while. But yeah, the women's tag team didn't work. But
Immediately, though, that was my problem. Like, immediately they gave up on it.
But to be fair,
To be
the men's
fair.
tag team belts also not super important.
That's fair. I
You
guess.
know,
Now we
it's-
have 2 of them.
It's almost a comedy bit currently.
When you go back to when there was one tag team champion.
Well, that's what they did with this one, with the women's. You know,
Well,
just go back to the
That's
one.
fair.
Yeah, works a little bit better. Anyway,
Hey, yo. A new Guinness World Record has been set for most WWE wrestlers identified by their entrance music in 1 minute. YouTuber Ross Twiddell of the UK
no way.
named 20 themes,
No, Ross.
beating the previous record by 2.
That's awesome. I'm gonna go. I'm sure it's a video. I'm gonna
Yes.
have to go watch it. Ross Twiddell is from Cultaholic, I believe.
I believe so, yes.
Used to be King Ross at What Culture Wrestling,
Yes.
but now Cultaholic. That's
so-
amazing.
And there are a lot of people who are like, "Oh, I could do that." You know, I could do it. Like, no, I don't think you
It's
can.
real hard, especially when you get to the what's the people that make the music now?
CFOs,
CFO
because they're all the
era,
same.
because they all sound the same. That's why they had to start putting the character's name at the front of every song.
They all start with It's like a 30-second choir. Yeah,
That's cool.
I feel like we should have we should eventually try that.
Yeah.
The only other record that and this is how my brain works, like just too overconfident. Is I was looking through the list of records and I was like, wouldn't it be cool if this show had a world record? And the one that I was like, I bet I could figure out a way to break that is fastest marathon run dressed as Macho Man Randy Savage. And I looked at it and it was like 2 hours and 56 minutes. And I'm like, I could beat that.
In a marathon dressed in that? No. I don't think so.
No, I couldn't.
I don't think
but
so.
There's some like my lizard brain is like, yeah, I could do that.
That's humanly possible. And I'm a human.
I'm a human. It's people. A human has done it before, and I'm peak humanity. Come on.
Hey yo, you went right. Did you go? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
That's
what we were talking about. Okay.
World records.
Netflix issues were off limits for WWE talent to tweet about. WWE will debut.
That makes it sound like there were some pretty bad ones.
WWE will debut on Netflix in 2024 with Monday Night Raw becoming available in the U.S. starting January 6th, along with live WWE shows in the UK and Europe and select historic pay-per-views, all going over there, everywhere else. Concerns arose over Netflix live streaming capabilities after technical issues during the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight.
Yes.
Which included buffering, low video quality, some just not being able to start the stream at all. WWE remains confident that Netflix can handle the content because, like, everybody who ever cared about Mike Tyson ever, or the massive fans behind the Paul brothers, all were watching.
Yeah.
This was millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people.
Millions of people.
Going to be a lot fewer viewership expectation numbers for Monday Night Raw.
But that was the problem they had with WrestleMania 30, because WrestleMania 30 was the first.
Yeah.
And they severely underestimated their servers.
That's true.
But now they figured it out.
However, WWE discouraged talent from commenting on the streaming issues, especially after Peacock, WWE's current partner, took a jab at Netflix online. WWE personalities like Big E, Trish Stratus, I can't say that name without sounding like I have a speech impediment, and Lita attended the Paul Tyson event. What a fight that was, eh?
Or what a fight it wasn't, really.
It's so boring.
Let me tell you, the buffering issues were much more secondary to Tyson finishing a backstage interview and then walking away with his bare butt exposed. And everybody pretending as if it wasn't happening.
I've already seen someone turn that into an ugly Christmas sweater.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And we were watching it because we were like, well, we're going to watch. And we watched most of the fights. It was pretty good. It was actually a pretty good show. But like they were interviewing him and everything was fine. It was like everything was good. And then he walked away and just the back half of his shorts were missing. And he just walked away and the camera followed him as if that wasn't weird.
This is normal.
This is
nice.
What was that? Oh man. And yeah, I don't know.
It was weird.
That is
weird time to be alive.
It's so weird. But with Netflix coming in, where do we stand on the hardcore title coming back? Because you heard that Triple H showed up at a Travis Scott concert and handed him a hardcore championship, like a new one.
I didn't know that.
And was like, be there on January 6th or whatever it is.
That would be amazing. It would, I guess, be a Raw exclusive title.
I guess.
Because that's the only show, at least in the U.S., that's going to be on Netflix.
Let's see if there's a picture of the title that they...
I hadn't heard that at all. But that's amazing. I can look it up. You can give your next storyline. Storyline, your next news story.
Hey, yo, what do you think of CM Punk as the fifth man?
So at first I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But then I watched this compilation somebody did of like every instance that they have talked about each other across paths since CM Punk came back. And it was like, there's one instance where CM Punk's in the ring saying, Roman Reigns, I acknowledge you, my tribal chief, but remember who the first Paul Heyman guy was?
Yeah.
And then they moved on, and then there was, the whole stuff about when Paul was talking to, not Paul, I'm sorry. When Paul was talking to Solo, saying before Reigns left, he made an agreement that CM Punk was off limits. This whole the whole thing of respect between CM Punk and Roman Reigns, and so with the Paul Heyman, of course, connection, I think it makes sense. And the news that I've seen is that they're going to utilize this to further the upcoming CM Punk Seth Rollins feud as well somehow, and so I think it's great. And I was also very excited to see CM Punk and Paul Heyman back.
Yeah. It was good. I liked it. I think it's fun. It's an odd choice.
Sure.
But looking back at all the obvious choices, they don't really make any sense either.
Yeah.
Like Seth Rollins, it's not one that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Like it makes sense, but it's also like, oh, that doesn't make any more. It doesn't actually make any more sense than.
Yeah. All I'm finding are clearly
like custom made
or AI versions. I can't find the one you're talking about.
I can't find it either.
Anyway, still cool.
Doesn't matter. So we're gonna talk about it.
Was that because that was your whole story?
That was
So hey yo, my last one. Big Boom AJ is all elite. Big Boom AJ triumphed over QT Marshall at AEW Full Gear's 0 Hour. Did you watch the match?
I did.
Okay, good for you.
I did. Did my journalistic integrity.
He triumphed over QT Marshall despite wrestling with a broken foot sustained during the match, during a flying clothesline about midway through the match.
Okay.
He was there supported by his son Big Justice and friend the Rizzler. AJ delivered a standout performance, grateful for fan support. AJ announced a 6 to 8 week recovery time for his foot, but teased continue involvement with AEW during the recovery time, and that he will be wrestling with AEW again once his foot heals. Great. He said he has talked with Tony Khan. Tony Khan was delighted with the reception at Full Gear.
Bet he was.
It wasn't a horrible match, you gotta admit. Especially for like a pre-show match. It wasn't horrible.
So it was okay.
Yeah. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. I'm not gonna say it was a fantastic
The video
one.
package beforehand was the weirdest thing to me. That just was a bunch of footage of him wrestling in an obviously empty arena.
Yeah.
But it was okay. But it was just okay. And that's fine.
And that's perfectly fine. I think
most
that's what
things
people
are
expected.
okay. Most things are okay, right? It wasn't a great match, but listen, it didn't have to be. Because a great match was at the bottom of their priority list. Mm-hmm. It may have been at the absolute bottom of the priority list, right? Because the priorities were AJ had to come out and say boom 100 times. Mm-hmm. They had to do that dance that's off rhythm. Mm-hmm. They had to do that about 50 times. And when things got boring, they got a shot of the Rizzler doing that stupid face that he does.
Oh my gosh, I hated that.
And let's face it, they had to get a bunch of shots of the Rizzler doing that dumb face. And they drug Paul Wright out for which is so ironic that his new nickname is No BS, right? Because this was a total load of BS. And my biggest fear is that this isn't the last time we're going to see some sort of content creator match where we got to pander to the internet. Eventually, we're just going to have a bunch of matches where Mr. Beast is going to come out and offer $1 million to the last person in the ring. Wrestlers are going to start doing promos to popular sounds. And anytime someone comes out and says they're the best, we're going to get Dan McClellan popping up on the screen going, all right, let's hear it. Let's see it. We had so much hope for AEW that it was going to be the promotion for real wrestling. But so far, it's just been Kenny Omega bringing in his indie friends, and we realized that people don't actually care. We preferred watching them on YouTube. It was better off when we thought we cared.
You're going to be really mad at me.
I swear if Dan McClellan or Mr. Beast is on the
Mr. Beast coming. No.
All right,
So
let's see it.
I know something that you don't know right now. Oh no! And everyone listening already knows, but you don't know because you're recording it with me right here in the moment.
Yeah.
Instead of our normal theme music today, the entrance music for our show was a 2 words version of "We Bring the Boom." That I have recorded special. And after we're done recording this episode, I will be filming content of you reacting to the song to post on our YouTube Reels or YouTube Shorts, whatever, later this week.
Great.
So it's going to be part of our legacy for forever.
Oh, it definitely will be. Here's the thing: is all me being frustrated aside, because I'm not the number one priority to anybody doing anything. But like it wasn't a good wrestling match, and when you compare it to something like Logan Paul, who comes in and puts on great. He's a content creator, and he comes in,
surprises us
and
all.
he dedicates to. I mean, it's like you obviously tell, like somebody put some major effort into getting him ready for that match.
Yeah.
You go back. I watched
Every match. My
this
gosh.
morning. I went back and watched the Stephen Amell Stardust with Wade Barrett and Neville and Adrian Neville, and like. That was a very good match. Like it was paced well. They actually tried to tell some sort of story. Whereas AJ just comes out and he's got that dumb smile that he does throughout the whole match, and he's wrestling like an indie wrestler from New Jersey, which he is. And that's not, again, I keep going back to. Have you seen Ted Lasso? Okay, so there's
Twice.
I'm rewatch. I've watched it twice, and I think I'm rewatching it with
The most wholesome TV show
ever.
To have so many cuss words.
Yeah. But there's the episode, there's a scene where Keely and Roy go on the double date with Rebecca, and I think the guy's name is John. And the guy leaves, and like Keely's like, oh, he's really great. You have a lot in common. Da, da, da. And Roy's like, are you gonna tell her or I gotta tell her? I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, he's fine. And that's nothing wrong with that. Most people are fine. It's like, that's what this is. There's nothing wrong with being fine. Most people are okay at things. Like, but when you're trying to make yourself, you know, when it was all elite and we are the real wrestling company, and it just hasn't been that.
I mean, that's the name of the title too. Just the fact that we kind of gloss over it now because it's the name of the promotion, but All Elite is what it's supposed to be, not anybody who will sign on for us.
And that's what it's been. And the biggest, and I was thinking about this morning because, like, when WCW crumbled, you had a lot of guys getting signed from WCW over to WWE. If AEW tanked today and I was running the promotion, which is a non-issue, but like, I don't have to sign any of those guys.
Right.
Like, I'd like Samoa Joe back. You know, if Dean Ambrose would come back or John Moxley would come back, that's great. But we've already seen guys jump back from All Elite back to WWE. We're going to see a whole bunch more of that. And let's face it, the best thing that's happened this year with AEW is them getting Bobby Lashley and MVP to do the Hurt Business in AEW.
Right.
And it was WWE's idea. So I'm trying not to be the poo-poo on the other promotion guy, but poo-poo. Like, it's like I can't.
Yet here we are.
I can't help myself. I think this needs to be the last time you do something like this.
I will agree with you that there's a lot of good happening in AEW.
Oh, 100%.
And it's all being overshadowed by this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I've heard about
Yeah.
from Full Gear.
I have no idea what other
the
matches
AJ.
happened.
Yeah. I watched a few of them, but I'm not hearing anyone talk about
Yeah.
them. I'm hearing all about AJ and how he's going to continue on in AEW, and he fought with a broken foot, and like, okay, that's cool. But
Big Justice out on the side, and he goes, boom!
If
and
he
that's-
wasn't, yeah, he did a decent spear for a 10-year-old.
You know what? I will give him his flowers on that one. That was a pretty good spear. I remember watching it, I'm like, that wasn't bad.
That wasn't as bad as it could have been. It was pretty decent. But yeah, I mean,
He could have milked the moment just a little longer before getting out of the ring, but you get it.
I get it. It was rough.
And then even like from the very beginning, they had the Rizzler as the honorary timekeeper, which is such a stupid thing to do.
We didn't need the Rizzler here.
No.
Good. I mean, it's going to be a great memory for him as a kid.
Yeah.
Didn't need so much focus on him and his weird hand. I don't understand the whatever he does with his face.
It's
like, and the only thing I ever saw before was he would do this, and like that's the thing. But now he does half moon face finger thing.
I hate that I know this.
Weird shush be quiet thing.
I hate that I know this.
What do you know?
It's called mewing.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to say what I think it is because it was a term we used to describe things we hated back in 2007. We're not allowed to say that anymore. And we've grown past using that term. That's fine. I get it. Yeah, exactly. Like we've grown past it, and it's good. That's good for us. But if I could use it just one more time, I know what I'd use. Apparently, I even hate saying it.
Yeah, it made me want to.
It's something you're supposed to like press your tongue against the roof of your mouth, and it's supposed to strengthen your jawline. And so while you're doing it, if somebody tries to talk to you, you go. Like,
because you're tracing your jawline?
Yeah, you're shushing them. I can't talk right now. I'm mewing.
And that's the.
And the problem is it's 16-year-olds. 16, you don't have a jawline. I told Hillary, because my wife's a high school English teacher, and I told her one time, I was like, if a kid ever did that to me while I was trying to teach them something, I would smack them in the mouth. I would get in a lot of trouble that day. I will fist fight you. But yeah, but again, like that's what this match was supposed to have. It needed anytime it got boring, you went to him, and it's like he knew. It was crazy how aware he was the camera was on him, because he'd just be kind of like, at one point they did a shot of him, and he's just like sitting there like playing with the hammer, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh,
Right.
like he knows.
Anyway, this speaks to a larger point. We had a grumpy listener a couple weeks ago say that all we are WWE fanboys, and we keep hating on AEW all the time. And I told them exactly what we've said many times. For the first 5 seasons of the show, all we did was hate on WWE and talk about the good things
100%.
happening at AEW, because that was the reality of the situation. And currently, WWE is killing it in most areas, and we talk about the areas that they aren't every time they pop up. But they're killing it right now, and AEW is fumbling the ball hard.
Listen, if everything was Kenny Omega versus Vikingo, that'd be great. Mm-hmm. But it's not. And and again, because this is so indicative of the problem, of the bigger problem, we were promised a New Japan. That's what we were promised. That's what I feel like I was promised.
No, I agree with you.
And I think that there's so much stinking talent, but they just it's like they're trying to get traction in mud, man. They just can't figure it out. Mm-hmm. And it seems as though nobody's happy over there.
Yeah. And I think you made this reference last episode when we were talking about this leading up to it, is this does feel like the time that, WWE started bringing in Jay Leno and David Arquette and all these other people. It's the weird now TikTok celebrity era of AEW.
And that's where everything's going to come. I mean, that's what everything's leading to.
Yeah.
The fact that WWE hasn't done this already is kind of shocking
Kind
to
of
me.
surprising, honestly. Yeah, I agree. We're at least stuck with YouTubers.
A real man's social media, a real man's content.
But it does feel like that. It does feel like this bit of desperation to pull people in. I mean, that's why this was on the pre-show.
Yeah.
100%. Because, hey, we're having a pay-per-view. This guy and his kid are all over TikTok. They've been hyping up this match. We got QT Marshall doing his own Doom parody of the song with the dance and everything.
Yeah.
We're gonna get so many eyes that probably wouldn't ever watch AEW come and watch just because of this guy and his kid. And maybe they'll stick around. Maybe they'll buy the pay-per-view on YouTube. Which I think is cool that they're doing now. You can just buy it on YouTube instead of having to go through all these other
because
platforms.
Nobody has any.
Right. But anyway.
You're gonna tell me that the best use of Will Hobbs is to be security for QT Marshall during the Costco guys match. Like that's the best you can do with Will Hobbs. Will Hobbs is like 300 pounds of redwood muscle. Like
he could be the Big E, man.
He could.
Big E started out as security, but he started as security. And then he got popular. Why? Will Hobbs was popular when he first started in AEW, and now he's relegated to a gimmick role.
Yeah.
That's not funny.
Yeah.
That doesn't gyrate.
Yeah. And listen, I know that Will Hobbs has a personality. He could do it. But
hey, before we go on, I don't have this as a news story, but I just wanted to mention, did you watch the Kofi Kingston Xavier Woods argument?
Yes. That felt a little real.
It was
felt a little real.
I have watched it 4 times. I had that same feeling watching that, and I did the cinematic Cody and Roman at the football field thing, and like this is like actual drama happening here. I'm really excited to see what they pay off with the New Day celebration thing. Yeah,
this better end in them having a match.
Oh, I mean, it's got to. But the theory that I saw online is, the whole storyline's kind of been leading you to believe that it's going to be Xavier Woods that turns on Kofi and leaves. And the theory I see now is like, what if Kofi's been the villain this whole time? Yeah. What if Kofi's been setting Xavier up for failure for the last year or so? They've been or half a year that they've been building this up. Yeah. And Kofi's the one that's going to turn. And I'm like, now I really want to watch. I don't care who it is, but it's going to be so good.
Did you see them on Scare Tactics?
Yeah. It was okay. It wasn't
great. But my favorite was when Cody Rhodes playing the part was like, I just don't think we need some freak on this show. And Xavier Woods was like, hey, man.
Hey, cool it down a little bit.
Back up, dude. That was my favorite part of the whole thing.
Like them just being, I thought we knew this guy.
What?
You having a bad day? You having a bad day?
This cool. Hey, man, come on.
Leave this poor girl alone.
Yeah. Well, moving on to the topic of today's show.
Sorry.
We need like little kazoos or something. Every season we end kind of spotlighting a wrestler, and it seems as though we've done a lot of, I don't want to say old guys, but old guys. Whereas we did like
we've done a lot of Attitude Era.
Yeah.
And even before that we did Macho Man first, right?
I think we did Macho Man. I think we were gonna do Hogan, and then
we didn't do Hogan.
We made a very calculated decision not to do Hogan. But then we did Vince McMahon, which we should have made.
And now you can't even find that episode.
Yeah. Did you take it off?
Oh, he took it down pretty much as soon as all that stuff started coming out. It had been out for, I think, maybe a month.
Yeah.
And we're like, no.
We're a little too nice.
We'll probably...
Oh, yeah, we did decide to
We'll probably put it back on in a few years when
Maybe
everyone
we'll revisit
forgets
it.
about it. Yeah.
But I kind of thought with John Cena on his kind of last run, as
like
he
the
keeps calling
farewell
it,
run. Yeah.
which has he actually started?
I think it's going to start at Royal Rumble. And even though this was very confusing at the beginning when he first came out and announced it.
Yeah.
But he's like, this will be my last Royal Rumble, last WrestleMania. And everyone kind of thought that meant, okay, he's having a retirement match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But then he later said, no, he'll be doing it this whole year. So he's going to be involved all of 2025, I guess, off and on. But yeah, I don't think it started just yet.
Yeah. And so we just thought like visiting John Cena, because John Cena is kind of a perplexing character. John Felix Anthony Cena. That's a name. That's
I don't
a
like
name.
knowing that.
Moved out to California in 1998 to pursue a career in bodybuilding. But in 1999, the New England native decided to pursue a career in professional wrestling, debuting in Ultimate Pro Wrestling the same year. In 2000, Cena signed with the then WWF-owned Ohio Valley Wrestling, then a developmental territory where he was wrestling as a semi-robotic character known as the Prototype, alongside
about that,
future
yeah.
Hall of Famers Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, Shelton Benjamin, and Batista. Cena would get a call-up in 2002, answering an open challenge from Kurt Angle in a now infamous moment, often referred to as ruthless aggression. Over the next 22 years, John Cena would become one of the most well-known professional wrestlers of all time, having legendary matches with the likes of The Undertaker, WWE, Randy Orton, and The Rock, as well as launching a film career in a match. So the question is, what do you think has made John Cena arguably one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time?
So there's a lot. I think it's interesting that we think of him as the PG era champion because he got started as like he started launching in popularity as the rapper.
Yeah.
Who was constantly making wiener jokes and junk throughout it. It's some very vulgar stuff. But anyway, he does have kind of unparalleled work ethic.
Yeah.
With the brand. At least he did for the longest time. He's been very dedicated to WWE in a way I think maybe not seen since The Undertaker. Like, Undertaker has been the workhorse. I feel like John Cena earns that title as well.
Yeah.
For most of his career. He's got a insane ability to connect with fans. He feels really authentic and even relatable in the PG era. His matches were very consistently amazing. I can't think of bad John Cena matches. At least not that it's John Cena's fault.
Yeah.
You know?
Not important ones.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure they're out there.
There's got to be an amount of matches he's had, but like, he's not a character that you associate with having a bad match.
Yeah.
Mike Skills, one of the best of that generation for sure.
Yeah.
He used those Mike skills to really elevate the rivalries that he had. And I guess what I was talking about at the beginning is that he's just very adaptable. He can adapt to. He showcased how he adapted the changing industry from the ruthless aggression era to the PG era, and he did it seamlessly. To the point where nobody noticed it happening in the moment. But then when you go back and make references to the ruthless aggression rapper John,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I can't believe that was the same character.
Yeah.
But nobody noticed in the moment. It was so fluid. He did it so well. There's just few wrestlers that have been so consistently good and well-rounded
Yeah.
as John Cena.
Yeah. I think when you look back over it, John Cena is one of the last guys or one of the newer generation of guys, first guys in this new generation, who like you can tell understood what it took to get people. And it wasn't high flying and it wasn't a crazy personality. It was putting on good matches. It was telling stories that people cared about.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, he may be one of the worst tag team partners of all time. Because he's like a 16-time champion, but they're like a cumulative like 30 days spent as tag team champion.
Right, yeah.
You know, he could really tell stories and he could really make you care about those stories. You know, but he also was really good at getting out of the way.
Yeah.
Like, everybody remembers CM Punk's pipe bomb promo. Most people don't remember that John Cena was just lying there in the middle of the ring. Cut that out. Like, most people don't remember that. And most people don't remember, like he had these great matches with, like, Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. And, you know, like, he's so... And you talk about adaptable. And he's so... Like, he figured out what he needed to become, and he became that thing. You know, when being the Chain Gang Cena wasn't going to work for this new era of wrestling, he changed. He became more PG. He became more, you know, hustle, loyalty, and respect. And, like, those aren't bad things for kids to want to become. But he never departed from who he originally was. Like, he's still this dude wrestling in jorts and Pumas. Like, and, you know, he talks about when, good night. He talks about when there was rumblings that they were going to do a heel turn.
Yeah.
And you could even see it. He had a thing with Kane there for a little bit, and everybody was like, "Oh, this is going to become something for that." And he said, "I heard rumblings." Like, somebody said one sentence. He goes, "And in 48 hours, I had new ring gear, I had a new song, and I had a new plan for everything." And he's like, "And that would have involved me not signing stuff for people, and it would have involved me being like a completely different person." He goes, "And I would have also stopped doing Make-A-Wish stuff because heels don't do that."
Right.
'Cause John Cena does a lot of Make-A-Wishes.
More than anybody.
More than anybody ever has. He goes, but you know, the heel didn't care about kids. And so I think that, like, but at the same time, nobody doesn't know who John Cena is.
Right. Not just in wrestling, but in
Like,
all of entertainment.
Like, and that sort of thing is reserved for guys like Hulk Hogan, The Rock, and Stone Cold.
I don't think even as much Stone Cold compared to the other two and to John Cena.
Yeah.
Like, Stone Cold is well known. He gets references every now and then, but they're still kind of niche references.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was The Good Place. The Good Place, Kristen
Dunst.
Bell's character was too many Kristen was infatuated with Stone Cold Steve Austin, saying, "I've only been in love with two people, Stone Cold Steve Austin and a guy at the store that I thought was Stone Cold Steve Austin."
I've only told two people I love them.
That's what it was. But like, even that, there's going to be a lot of people who watch it and like, I have no idea who Stone Cold Steve Austin is. If she turned that to The Rock, everyone would know what you're talking about. I feel like John Cena would be the same.
Exactly.
I think everybody knows John Cena, and it's not because of his movies or anything like that, because most of the acting he does is
not
bad.
great.
The Rock gets a lot of hate for his acting, but he's also still very entertaining even when he's bad in a movie.
He's done some good movies.
John Cena, he's had a couple good roles in otherwise very terrible and forgettable movies, and so that kind of cancels him out. He's great in Peacemaker, but he's kind of a wrestler in Peacemaker.
But and that's the thing about, like, and I don't think we've talked about this before on the show, but like The Rock and John Cena, when you watch them in movies, they're wrestlers. Like they're whatever these characters are. They can do all the acting just fine, but they're wrestlers.
Yeah.
Like we're watching John Cena, the wrestler, as the Marine, or what was this, whatever the one about working at a fire station was. I don't know. I didn't watch all. We're watching John Cena, the wrestler, in Bumblebee. We're watching The Rock, the wrestler, in Game Plan or Jungle Cruise or whatever else. Whereas
Johnson. Oh yeah, no. I forgot. Yeah, The Rock did Jungle Cruise. That was a bad movie.
It wasn't awesome. No, it wasn't awesome. Jumanji, though, like it was a good movie.
I liked it,
but it's still like, oh, it's The Rock as a wrestler. Whereas comparatively, and again, we've talked about this before. When I watch Knock at the Door with Batista, I forget that it's Batista.
Agreed. Knock at the cabin or something like that.
Knock at the cabin door or something like that.
It was like the movie itself, fine, whatever. But Batista's performance.
Oh my goodness.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
And of course, him as Drax is the most well known. Who cares that he was a wrestler?
Forget it was Batista.
So freaking funny and good in that role.
But this isn't about acting. And I guess we'll lead into that question
a little bit. Yeah.
That question leading into, like, when all is said and done, do you think that his legacy is going to be as a wrestler that has acted or as an actor that used to wrestle?
No, he love John Cena. It's never going to be an actor who used to wrestle.
Yeah.
It's always a wrestler who went beyond what other normal wrestlers get to do. Yeah. But he was the face of not just WWE. He was the face of the industry at large.
Yeah.
For over a decade. There's no removing the base plate, on his name tag that says wrestler. There's just no way to take that out. Because like I said, even in his good roles, he comes off as a wrestler.
Yeah.
Peacemaker is a wrestling character, essentially. In all the ways that matter. He could walk out into a ring wearing that gear with that attitude and fit right in.
Yeah.
He's great in those kind of roles.
Yeah.
Daddy's Home.
You're gonna tell me Ricky Stenicki is not
Ricky Stenicki. Oh gosh.
That movie was good and I will stand by that. I don't care what anybody else says. That movie was hilarious.
I do like the humor involved with him being this hulking guy whenever they go, again, when they play off of that. But they've done the same thing with The Rock for forever.
And they have.
And it's just...
But the thing is The Rock seemed to keep doing like family friendly movies. And like Ricky Stenicki, there's a scene where they're like, can you do the bris? And he's like, yeah, sure. Like... That, and I'll say, what was the movie he just did with Awkwafina? Jackpot or something?
I don't think I've seen
where
that.
He was protecting. She's the lottery winner.
Oh, was he the one that
he was in that? It was a buddy cop film with him and Awkwafina, and it was pretty funny.
Okay.
But I think like when because we have to compare it to The Rock, right? And like
you have to,
because their paths. I mean, when you look at John Cena's greatest matches, it's the greatest rivalries. The Rock is at the top of that list.
And the whole point of that was him being mad at The Rock for turning Hollywood, and he really believed it at that time.
And they're being this, and them being the same person. But The Rock, I think right now we're looking at The Rock is an actor that used to wrestle. To me, it's the Ronald Reagan thing. Like, Ronald Reagan's a president who also used to
be an actor.
The actor,
yeah, I agree with that standard for sure.
Yeah, and so I don't think you're ever going to get away from it, because I think that'll always be the bit is you're the big hulking guy, and you're funny. Yeah, and like he's funny.
I think he's but I think he's going more the route of Hulk Hogan. No one thinks of Hulk. He did so many movies and appearances. No one thinks of him as, hey, the actor who used to wrestle.
What's that smell?
I've watched that scene since you told me about it. I've watched that scene a bunch.
Dookie.
Dookie. So bad. He's a little better than Hulk Hogan was.
Oh, he's a lot better than Hulk Hogan.
But they still kept going to that Hulk Hogan well.
Yeah.
Like he had a TV show and everything. Like they did.
I used to like that TV show. Thunder in Paradise.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good movie.
But again, like no one thinks of that. No one thinks of him as, oh yeah, that actor that also wrestled at one point.
Yeah.
It's still one of the most well-known wrestlers of all time. John Cena is going to be the same way. I calling it right now. I don't care how many good movies he fumbles. He's never going to be following the Rock's path.
He just keeps getting jobs.
Yeah. Well, again, it's like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
It's such a well-known name. They're just going to keep going back to him.
People are going to keep watching it. It's like when they made the Power Rangers movie. I remember saying when that movie came out, I was like, I don't care how bad this movie is. I will watch the second one. I will keep going to the theaters as long as they're making these movies.
And that movie was bad.
It was not good.
I've watched it this year.
I need to watch it again.
How did I enjoy this? Like I remember the opening 30 minutes are great. But then once you get to anything with CGI and most of the Ivan Ooze stuff.
Oh no, I'm talking about that one. About? But I'm talking about the newest one that they came out like in 2017.
That movie.
Yeah.
It was pretty garbage.
It wasn't good.
But yeah, I would have watched. I'll
watch another one.
I was mad they didn't make a second one because they hinted at Tommy.
Yeah.
At the end. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we're gonna keep watching John Cena's movies.
Power Ranger movies are terrible.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about, right?
That's really what we'd like you to know. So do you think? And the thing is like when The Rock comes back, though, like when The Rock came back with the final boss stuff, that was so good.
It was.
But
most of it's acting.
Yeah, exactly.
Very little of it has been wrestling. It's mostly been acting. Yeah. And so that's what he's great at.
Yeah.
He's been that's the other connection. He's always been the very charismatic guy.
Yeah.
That's why his stupid people's elbow that would do nothing to nobody is like this, treated as this grand finale finisher because it's so, like, it makes the crowd so hype. The same thing with John Cena and the five knuckle shuffle or the F5 or all that. The F5 is a little more damaging, but just a punch to the head, a flamboyant punch to the head.
Yeah.
But it's devastating and protected as this, all right, and now you pin, and it's over. It's like he's a showman. And I think that's how he connects so well with that audience. But he's not the greatest actor like The Rock.
Like when
is much better. Not the greatest actor either, but he's much better than John Cena. Just there's no argument in that. Like you said, he's had some very good movies.
I think The Rock just gets better roles. I think that's all it is.
Maybe.
And I was saying, it's like, I don't know what is The Rock? Is The Rock coming out with a movie this year?
He just came out. There's one right now. Red One. The Christmas one with Chris Evans.
Have you heard him talking about that movie?
No.
First of all, they've been making that movie for like 9 years now.
Well, that's nothing compared to Black Adam.
Well, that's true.
There was 47 years.
There was a video I saw, and The Rock was talking about going to the IMAX theater that Christopher Nolan screens all of his movies in and watching Oppenheimer. And he's like, I wanted to know where does Chris sit? And, I wanted that full experience. And I remember watching Oppenheimer in this movie theater and this great spectacle. And I remember thinking, wow, Red One's going to look so good here. And I'm like, are you deaf? You are tone deaf, dude.
You cannot compare Oppenheimer to a Christmas action comedy with evil snowmen. Oh, man.
But he was just so very brave. He was like, I can't wait for people to see Red One.
I can't wait to hate watch that movie from start to finish. Yeah. It's going to be so great.
Multiple times.
I love me a bad Christmas movie.
Of course you do.
I'm all about Christmas with the Cranks. Deck the halls, jingle all the way, bring them. Bring them every time, every year.
Yeah, no, they're the best. They're the best. You keep Jingle All the Way's name out your dang mouth.
Put that cookie down! No! You come to my house, you eat my cookies.
Were you the one that came up with a theory that or where I heard the theory about the mailman from that movie being an escaped like insane asylum?
No. No. I had quite a few theories. I had a theory about Santa Claus actually kidnapped Buddy the Elf, a la Monsters Inc. kidnapping a kid to scream to keep the Christmas spiritometer alive by making a human believe so thoroughly in Christmas. I had a lot of theories. I had a Home Alone theory I don't remember now, but it was a lot.
Okay.
But not that one. I haven't heard that one.
Well, back to John Cena. Taking the long way around. How much time do we have?
Wait, it's the finale. Go for it.
Do you feel as though John Cena's changed professional wrestling?
Yeah, I mean, he was the defining character for two eras of the show.
Yeah.
Like you said, he was the one that came out with the ruthless aggression moment. He wasn't the first person to say it.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon said it, but like he was basically the defining start. Mm-hmm. And then he was the face of the PG era as well.
Yeah.
He had his they changed the main title for years to a spinner belt, a blingy spinner belt.
Just for him.
And it stayed that way long after he stopped winning it for a while. Also, did you see the CM Punk spinner version that they just came out with for sale in the WWE shop?
I think so, yeah.
For $1 billion?
Yes,
it's amazing looking though. Anyway, they he pushed that new era of storytelling. He helped establish the PG era. Like you said, he inspired. He was the connection with the kids that I think hadn't happened since Hulk Hogan in this strong of a connection.
Yeah.
With the never give up, the hustle, loyalty, respect thing. That's this mentality, this constant presence. He was also the face of basically WWE's charitable side. Mm-hmm. Like we said, granted the most Make-A-Wish wishes of anybody in history. He created a crossover appeal for wrestling into the mainstream. Wrestling before the John Cena era was very niche. Mm-hmm. Now it's part of the culture at large. Like, it's not uncommon for people who aren't into wrestling to know what's happening in wrestling.
Yeah.
At least with a peripheral knowledge.
Yeah.
And I think that started with him. I think he changed it in the way that he made it more mainstream than it had ever been.
Yeah.
Had it not been for that kind of larger than life character who played so well outside of the ring as he did on the inside, I don't think that would have happened.
Yeah. And it was definitely the past, like the passage for the newer generation. Because I remember, I went to a show in Lubbock, and John Cena was wrestling the Big Show. That was the main event match. And it was Big Show was heel, and it was the authority thing.
Sorry, real quick. Did you see the We Bring the Boom TikTok with the Big Show?
Yes, I saw that.
Go ahead.
No BS, whatever. They did. Now I'm really mad. No. So John's like Big Show's music hits and everything's whatever. John Cena's music hits, and then when I tell you all of the bass just drops out of the audience, and it's just and just little kids, man, and they're just man, like everybody loves that guy, and he was really one of the most important guys to getting that like concept of I don't care if they're cheering me or they're booing me. I just need him to do something. Hulk Hogan didn't get that. He wanted everybody to cheer him. I think Triple H also got that idea. Like, we just need people to do something.
Yeah, reaction.
To react some sort of way.
It's the goal.
But John Cena really sort of took that idea and really ran with it. Like, if you hate me, I'm going to make you really hate me.
Yeah.
If you love me, I'm going to make you really love me. And, you know, there's a reason he comes out and it's 15 minutes of half the crowd's cheering, "Let's go Cena," and the other cheer. And I mean, it's become a call and response now.
Yeah, it's just like Kurt Angle's "You Suck" to his theme music. It's now
it's a call and response. "Let's go Cena."
an expected thing.
Like, it's just a thing that everybody knows to do. And I don't know that we're ever going to see anything like that again.
Right.
Like, I don't see anybody on the ride. Try to look at the roster and go, like, who's going to be the guy? And right now it's Roman Reigns.
And he's not going to be a John Cena.
He's never
They
going to be a
wanted him
John
to be
Cena.
at the beginning, and it failed horribly. He's great as he is.
Yeah. And
This
again,
is about as face as he's going to get
yeah.
right now.
I just don't see anybody on the roster at WWE or NXT or AEW who is gonna have that. You know, I think it's too late for a guy like Kenny Omega to be that.
Right.
I don't know.
He could be. Not anymore, but like he could have been.
He could have been. He definitely could have been.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think he's changed it, but I don't think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be one of those kind of like a Dusty Rhodes thing, where it's like you watch and you go, "Oh, that was Cena.
Yeah.
That was. Oh yeah, that was a thing. That was Cena's thing." So I don't know.
I mean, it's hard still not to compare him to Hulk Hogan and The Rock, both two different eras.
Yeah.
Because he does have bits and pieces of both of them in himself. But it is like the Hogan era in that manner. You know, kids loved Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
That was a big push in those early days. You know, before Monday Night Raws or anything like that started happening, when he was just the face of professional wrestling, a lot of kids, that was the only wrestler they knew.
Yeah.
Is Hulk Hogan. I had a Hulk Hogan doll, like one of those, the beat 'em up dolls that they had back then. Like, well, I have a Sting one here now, but one of the new ones that they came out with. But I had a Hulk Hogan one. I had never seen Hulk Hogan wrestle.
Yeah.
I had never watched him in a movie,
yeah.
but I knew who he was, and I loved that doll. Like it was just a kind of cultural thing at the time for kids. And then we went to the Attitude Era, and The Rock was not a cultural thing for kids.
Yeah.
It was a cultural thing for teenagers and college students and the ever-loving wrestling fans that have been, you know, for years. But we moved back to that kind of family-friendly era with John Cena. And now we're pushing into a new, almost Attitude-ish era.
Yeah,
we're going to Netflix. It's going to be more PG-13.
See, here are the F word, kids.
Boss, I really hope they don't start doing that on Raw. I really don't want it. But like I already,
That's going to be in their opener. It's just
I
going
already don't like it when AEW drops the S word every other episode.
Yeah.
But still, it was like a break, I guess, in the trajectory, because like WWE had to change for the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
That's how they got the momentum back and won the Monday Night Wars. They had to do that. Then when they wanted to be more popular and they became more mainstream, they had to go back to family friendly and try and keep that same level of endurance. And they mostly failed. The only thing that really succeeded consistently was John Cena. Everything else, this was the era where we're just like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Like, I like the idea that I can sit down and watch this with my kids, but what are they doing?
Yeah.
Storylines are awful. Matches make no sense. There's a lot, you know, there's little bits of good in that, but now we're getting to the point where like, okay, now we can do what we need to do as a wrestling company. We have a whole new leadership in charge. We've got a whole new direction. We're already killing AEW, which everyone thought was going to be the potential new WWE killer when it first came out. Even us, because WWE sucked at the time.
Very much so.
And like, if there was ever a time another company was going to take out WWE, it was then. And it didn't happen. And now we're like, oh, this could be the new golden era. And you're right. I don't think we ever come back to an era where we have a Hogan or a John Cena. Because basically WWE just lucked out with John Cena. John Cena was good enough in that role to carry them through their worst season.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe just the biggest part of it is now you've got enough talent to like spread all that out. And I think you did back then too, but it was a lot more organization in all of the storytelling.
Yeah.
Back then too. But yeah, no, I think that you're never going to find somebody that's as polarizing, that's as well known, that everybody knows who John Cena is. And you know, like just the moment, you have so many moments with John Cena. You know, even when he was on Total Bellas and he got mad at Nikki Bella for cooking him dinner. And people still love him.
I couldn't watch any of the reality show stuff with John Cena after the one episode where it was like Daniel Bryan had recently moved in, and they were like, he was giving them all the weird house rules, and every Thursday night we dress up in tuxes and eat dinner, and if you don't do this, you are welcome to leave. Like, he was just all this hardline nonsense. I'm like, crazy stuff. Man, I really hope you weren't like this before money.
Yes.
Because that's my only excuse right now for you to be this big of a jerk.
You got money. You got money. So, last question. I'll just do the last two questions together.
Okay.
Who do you think will be John Cena's last opponent on his retirement run? And who do you think will induct him into the Hall of Fame? Because I have a theory it'll be the same person.
Is your theory Randy Orton?
The theory is Randy Orton.
That's my theory as well.
I don't see anybody else.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, they were the two that they put together to unify the World Heavyweight and WWE Championship. They had a lot of rivalry before that. They were both coming up together.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only a handful of guys. Maybe Brock Lesnar. Could be his last match.
Yeah, except no, it won't be.
Except you won't get Brock Lesnar back.
It could have been. Let's put it that way. It could have been, but no. I wouldn't mind if it was Roman Reigns, because I do understand like the passing of the torch kind of thing, like we got with the Hogan and Rock and the Rock and Cena.
Yeah.
Like if we had this big build up.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen in this year.
No.
And so if that happens, you know, if he comes back and does this is my last match thing 2-3 years from now, it could be Roman Reigns. But if it's going to happen in this year, if he's going to have what he calls his last match in this year, I think Randy Orton's the perfect choice.
Yeah. Maybe Batista if you could get him to come back.
I'd be okay with that.
But I also don't think he's not in wrestling shape.
Right.
Anymore. He's in great shape.
Nor do I think he wants to be.
I don't think he wants to be either. Triple H, maybe.
I don't know. I'm of the opinion. I'm of the opinion that Triple H has decided he's done.
Well, yeah, and I guess he can't. Oh, well, I think his heart decided.
Right. Well, that's true.
We're not
He also
doing
has
this
health,
anymore.
but he was not great.
Yeah.
His last couple outings.
Yeah.
Really, and I feel like any more he does is just going to do damage to the legacy of him as a wrestler.
Yeah.
And take away from his ability to manage the product during that time, which he's doing a great job of. The only
other person I can really think of has like I'd love to see this match is CM Punk.
Sure.
Because they had all those. I mean, they were great. Mm-hmm. They were important.
Their storyline together was really good too.
But I think if there was, and I know you kind of say this about a lot of people, but I think if all of this had not happened with Vince McMahon, and if there was going to be one person that Vince McMahon inducts, I think it's John Cena.
I would agree with that. Can't see that now.
Yeah,
but
that's probably not going to happen. That's almost definitely not going to happen.
It would have been, almost certainly.
But, you know, I need it to be somebody important. I don't need this to be a Kurt Angle getting retired by Baron Corbin business. That gives me that
hurts.
That gives me icky feelings.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think match wise, I feel like Randy Orton is top tier. Roman Reigns would be an okay match. CM Punk would be good. Can't really think of anybody else.
No.
You know, I want to think like a younger talent, Austin Theory, somebody, I don't know, but at this point it wouldn't feel like a big deal.
No.
We had the Austin Theory match with John Cena, right? Didn't we? And it wasn't great. It wasn't memorable. And so Randy Orton, I think, would be fantastic just because they're emblematic of that era.
Yeah.
But when it comes to inducting him in the Hall of Fame, Triple H would be a great choice. I would like to see all of the Make-A-Wish kids that are...
I would love to see one last match between John Cena and 300 Make-A-Wish kids. He's just fighting them one by one, two by two.
Any Make-A-Wish kids.
That's the entire pay-per-view.
Are still here, still with us. Yeah. It's hard to say this.
I forgot that's why.
That's why that exists.
Forgot that's why that exists.
I would like to see them be a part of that induction somehow, or just the Make-A-Wish people have to be involved somehow with that, because that's just as big of a part of his
100%.
legacy as the wrestling was. But yeah, it's got to be a big name, and I'm willing to bet that happens in 2026.
Yeah,
like if he's doing his last match run here in 2025, 2026 seems like the perfect time.
We're seeing a lot more guys get very serious about retiring and just being done for a long term. Again, you'll see him come back after this for one more match, two more matches,
right? Just
like The Rock.
I mean, heck, even Stone Cold eventually came back, and it was great.
Cena will wrestle. I don't know. He'll probably wrestle till he's 55, something like that.
Probably.
He's in his 40s now.
Not too far away.
But yeah, he'll wrestle for a few more years. He'll stay in great shape, and it'll be good. But well, those are our thoughts on John Cena. We if you have any other thoughts or complaints about what promotion we do and do not like, you can go to our socials at the Pull List LTN. Go over to their page.
Go to their page.
Go to their page and complain about us because we don't read them.
That's hilarious. Is that the only show that's also on the network? Because that's
the one.
It's the only one you ever mention.
Yeah,
anymore.
It's the one. Like it's right off the top of my head. Church Nerds.
Church Nerds hasn't really. They didn't have an episode this season. They wanted to. They were supposed to be every other week like us, and it just never happened. That
is actually, to answer your question, yes, it's the only show I definitively know.
It's the longest,
and I like the show. Like I've listened a few times.
It's the longest running right now on the network.
And I enjoy it. But you know what? Email Bubba Stallcup at LTN.
Bubba at lovethynerd.com.
You can email him all of your issues with my takes. That's the closest thing he might be the closest thing I have to a boss. Mm-hmm. But anyway, but we hope you've enjoyed this season, however short and disconjunct it has been. We have enjoyed this. I think this has been one of the best seasons.
I mean, every episode has been great.
Every episode has been great.
And this has been a fantastic episode.
Fantastic.
I've loved it, yeah.
I'm very excited about this episode. But we will be back, I don't know, February?
February, first or second week, I don't know yet.
Don't worry, we'll miss you too.
We'll stick around on Wednesdays, I'm pretty sure. So we alternate with the Pull List. So if that helps. Fair enough.
So again, still only group that I know. And again, you can call Hector Mirai at
Hey, you said the last name right.
555 Hector.
What are we doing?
I don't know, man. Oh,
We're done. Just got the giggles in the last few minutes of the season.
Man. I've enjoyed this season. I'm glad you guys are still listening. We are so thankful because there are people that like. I'm always surprised still when people are like, "Oh, I was listening to your last show," and I'm like, "Why?"
I'm sorry, your life is.
I didn't know we did this for other people to listen to, and yet they do. And so we're so thankful because we probably still would. We do this anyway. It's just cool to know other people might care a little bit, and so.
And we talk like this all the time. We just decided, hey, let's put microphones in front of us.
Exactly. That was the plan. And so, but we'll be back in February. But until then, my name is John. His name is Matt. And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you.
Bye.